In this video, we will go through the purchased goods and services in NIVI. We navigate there by clicking on My Company in the left menu, navigating to the Scope 3 tab, and then clicking on the first square, Purchased Goods and Services. In the GHG Protocol, there is a category for purchased goods and services and a category for capital goods. While purchased goods are products that are consumed in production or other operational activities, capital goods are goods that are purchased as an investment that is depreciated over time, such as machinery or furniture. In NIVI, you can see the purchased goods and services category divided into purchased goods and purchased services. Note that these categories only include the emissions from the production of the goods before you bought them and used them in your own operations. To add emissions from the processing of goods in your company or transport, storage, waste, or sale of goods, please refer to Scope 1 and 2 and the other categories in Scope 3. To add a purchased good, first open the Purchased Goods section. You can either add products without a specific emission factor or with an emission factor if you have the data. If you do not know the emission factor, first enter a name for your product and then select a category. The categories are a selection, and you may not find your exact good, but please choose the category closest to the good you purchased to get the best results. Once you have selected the category, enter the total value of the goods you have purchased. Once you have added the good, it will appear in the table below with its emissions. If you know the emission factor of the purchased good, first tick the box Emission Factor Available and see how the view changes. Then enter a name for the good and the quantity you purchased. Finally, enter the emissions per unit of the product and click Add. You will now see the product in your list. Adding purchase services works in a similar way. You open the purchase services by clicking on them, then select a category and then a purchase service within that category. You then enter the total value of the service and click Add to see the service in the table below. If you know the emission factor, tick the Emission Factor Available box and enter the name, quantity, and emissions per unit before clicking Add to add the service to your list. To add a capital good, open the capital goods sections by clicking on it. The steps are the same as for purchasing goods. You enter a name, select a category, and enter the total value before adding the good by clicking Add. If you know the specific emissions of a good, you can tick the Emission Factor Available box to enter the good's name, quantity, and emissions. How detailed you add goods and services is up to you. You should make at least one entry for each category of good or service that applies to you, as different categories are calculated using different emission factors. You can also make multiple entries for each category if you have purchased different goods or services within a category and want to differentiate between them. This would also allow you to make different entries by invoice or supplier. Once you have added your goods and services, you can view them in your dashboard. Click on Dashboard on the left-hand side of the page and navigate to the Scope 3 tab in the top menu. Here you can see your Category 1 and Category 2 emissions on the right and your upstream and total emissions on the left.